The supplies that I like to use are either just some binder paper or a composition notebook. Right now, I love using the craft notebooks from Daiso. They're just so amazing. The pages are so smooth and it makes writing notes so much more fun. I also love to use a black pen, a black brush pen or marker, some highlighters, or a colored pen. My first tip would to be make your handwriting a little more neater. It doesn't have to necessarily look amazing, but maybe take the extra time to write a little bit slower than you normally would and pay more attention to how you're placing your letters and how you're forming them. The more you make your letters sort of even and the more you make them touch the line of the binder paper, the more nicer your notes will look. Essentially, pretty notes are just your handwriting, and the more legible and neat your handwriting is, the prettier your notes will look. I'm now writing the exact same sentence in a little more messier handwriting and a bit faster, and you can really see how much the difference is if you take the extra time to just write a bit slower. I know that can sometimes be hard to do, especially if you're taking notes as your teacher is talking. I would recommend just trying to practice to make your handwriting a bit more neat in your extra time, and then during a lecture you will be able to write at a pretty quick pace with still neat and even handwriting. My next tip would to be to use color in your notes. I personally prefer using highlighters instead of colored pens because it can sometimes be hard to switch between your colored pen and your black pen during the class. So I just like to go over and highlight everything after I finish taking the notes. I still do love using colored pen in my notes, so I'll typically use them if I'm taking notes from the textbook in my own time or if I'm making a study guide / review sheet. I think they're really helpful then. Also, be sure that you don't go too overboard with the colors. Sometimes if you use too much color in your notes, it can get a bit overwhelming. So you want to make sure that you're not using more than 2 to 3 colors, and make sure even so when you're using those 2 to 3 colors, you're spreading them out equally throughout your notes and not just randomly highlighting and coloring everything. The colors are essentially just for the really important information for your notes. In order to make your notes stand out a bit more, you want to make sure you have a big and bold title. It doesn't necessarily have to be in calligraphy like I'm doing here. You can also just try out different fonts to make your title stand out, and you can even add some drawings or some color. If you feel like you need some more tips on your calligraphy, be sure to check out my video on that, link in the description down below. Also, be sure to add diagrams to your notes. Not only do they help with understanding, but they also look really nice, especially if you add some color and have this whole color coding thing going on in your notes. My final tip would to be to use a black pen or a dark blue pen for the main body of your notes. I just feel like using a darker color helps your notes look so much neater rather than just writing the whole thing in a light pink pen. Be sure to use the brighter colors for the important information on your notes, especially for writing vocab words and just any keywords or key phrases.